My watch buzzed. 46 minutes and 13 seconds. The countdown began. 46 minutes to write a miracle or get turned into a gory mural. Talk about a deadline. I tried to cheat the rules by scribbling a better ending with my pen, but the ink bled straight through. 30 minutes and 13 seconds. I screamed myself hoarse. Only the echo answered, thin and pitiful, like even my own voice had given up on me. Shit, the ma'am always said I'd die alone. Looks like she finally got something right. 20 minutes and 13 seconds. The typewriter twitched, then typed, just the same sentence, over and over. Good boys don't bleed so loud. Good boys don't bleed so loud. Good boys don't. 17 minutes and 13 seconds. Please, not again. Not her. Reality buckled. The air turned to syrup. A rocking chair creaked. Slow, measured, familiar. Carol's lullaby threaded through the silence. Half hummed, half forgotten. My stomach dropped. My mouth tasted of apologies. I tried to fight it, to claw my way back to chamber 13, but the light was already bending. The walls sighed, and I slipped. Not down, but through, like a story falling off its rails. The chamber peeled away. First the walls, then the floor, then suddenly, I was there again. A living room drowned in shadow. Moonlight slicing through boarded windows. Dust curling through the beams like cremated pages. And pain. The ma'am yanked my head back like she was opening a puppet's mouth. What did I just tell you, boy? She hissed. I choked down a sob. Good boys don't bleed so loud. That's right. Her knife returned. Not quick, not clean, but slow and deliberate, like she was signing her name into my spine. Carol was there, kneeling in front of me. Frail hands wrapped around mine like they were the only thing left holding me together. It's okay, she whispered. It'll be over soon. I knew that. I remembered when Gretchen received her carving. My older sister. It was among my first memories. She'd showed it to me afterwards, etched into her neck like a brand. An inverted A, its legs long and bent like rabbit ears. 2 dots in the center. Eyes. The ma'am's signature. Her proof that neither Gretchen or I had never really been born. Just written. She called us characters in her private mythology. Rough drafts with just enough soul to suffer, and just enough love to make it hurt. The knife flared hot as it broke the skin. The ma'am's voice was like arsenic. You should be proud, boy. Most of your siblings never made it this far. I winced. True, most didn't. But Gretchen had. I still remember the night she was exiled. The way she screamed. The gouges her nails left on the wall as the ma'am dragged her from the crooked house and out the door with a dozen locks. Let this be a lesson. The ma'am had told me when she returned, breathlessly shaking Gretchen's blood from her boots. There are no happy endings for disobedient brats. Sometimes, at night, I swore I could still hear my sister crying from the wood, begging the hungry things not to eat her. I shook the thought from my mind. Ma'am, I whispered. Speak, boy. Our story, it's about saving people, right? The ma'am twitched. My story, not yours. She yanked my head back, fingers knotting in my hair. This world is mine to save. All you are is another weapon to help it along. Carol squeezed my hand, seeing my horror. Not weapons. Helpers, dear. That's what we are. And the ma'am's so close now, so close to saving everyone. Isn't that lovely? I forced a smile, nodding. Does that mean we can leave the crooked house soon? That depends. The ma'am's nails pierced my scalp. Blood trickled, warm and slick. Carol hasn't been terribly cooperative lately. It slowed my progress considerably. Carol looked down. Shame wrinkled her face. Her hand drifted to her forearm, hiding fresh scars, dried blood, like something had fed on her. I've just been tired, she said quickly. It's harder to contribute these days. But I'm trying. I smiled at her. Or at least, tried to. It's okay. You're doing your best, Gran. Everything stopped. The ma'am wrenched my head sideways, blade cold against my throat. What did I say about that word? You bloody brat. I'm sorry. It just slipped out, I swear. Mother, Gran, she said them like curses. Those words are forbidden in this house. Her blade shifted, pointing at Carol like a verdict. And this crone? She hasn't earned the right to hear them. Carol reached out, trying to defuse the situation. You're right, Of course you are. The boy's just excited about the carving, I'm sure. She looked at me. Isn't that right? I nodded quickly, heart pounding. See? That's all it was. It's jumbled his head a bit. The blade kissed tighter. My blood pattered the floor like rain. Then he should unjumble it. Tell him a story. Carol shrieked, voice pitched with desperation. The boy loves your stories. The man paused. Her scowl cracked, reshaping itself into a sneer. Is that so? You should have said so sooner, boy. I'm always happy to share my genius with those who need it. What story would you like to hear? Tell him about the Red Queen, Carol offered, and how she's going to save us. He'll enjoy that one. Yes, the man breathed. My magnum opus. I gulped, shifting uneasily beneath the blade. What's the story about? Revenge, the man said simply. Once the Red Queen arrives, the hungry things will submit to my narrative completely. We'll leash them, turn their fangs into weapons, and then we'll topple the monster that took everything from me. The boogeyman, I whispered. It was the story Carol told me most nights. Our family's legacy. The boogeyman wasn't just another monster. He was the worst creature to ever exist. The thing that haunted people's dreams and turned them into shadows. That's right, Carol told me, her smile trembling like a candle flame. The boogeyman is wrong, the man snapped. Carol recoiled. The boogeyman is a footnote, you daft crone. A distraction. The real enemy is the disorder. The man's voice tilted venomous. They took everything from me. My soldiers, my dreams, my legacy. But with the Red Queen leading the charge, I'll take it all back, and then I'll write a lullaby with their screams. My throat burned, voice trembling. And then we'll stop the boogeyman. The knife returned. So did the pain. Certainly. We'll stop the boogeyman and anything else foolish enough to interfere. Make no mistake, boy. This is my story, and evil has no place in it. Not while I hold the pen. She pressed the blade harder. Now sit still. You're getting blood all over my hands. And then, the world reversed. Shadows peeled backward. Walls liquefied into stone. The crooked house was gone. I was back in chamber 13, sitting beneath a lonely light bulb dangling from a cracked ceiling. The boogeyman. The Red Queen. I groaned, hand running through my hair. I'd done a decade's worth of therapy to bury those memories, and now they were resurfacing. Why? It all started the second the elevator dropped. Was it something about the sub-vaults that was digging into my subconscious, then? Or was something else trying to get my attention? Ding. The typewriter's carriage slid over. A fresh page sat in the holster. Crisp. Waiting. Impossible. It was fully typed, like it had crawled out of the machine when I wasn't looking. What the? It looked like a journal entry. That, or something wearing the skin of one. I hesitated. Truthfully, it made my skin crawl to even look at. I wondered whether it was safe to read it. Maybe the words were haunted, or cursed, or worse. But then, I was half an hour away from having my intestines hung like party streamers. And when those are the stakes, you'll take what you can get. It's not like I had another exit strategy. So I sank into the chair, told myself a pretty lie that the typewriter wanted to help me escape. That these words just might hold the secret to my salvation. I couldn't have been more wrong. October 4th, 1857. There was no place for a girl to grow in our home, only to wilt. Father drank with the conviction of a preacher at judgment and struck with the same grim determination. He claimed it was for the salvation of my soul, though I suspect he took more pleasure in the punishment than in any promise of heaven. Mother had only just returned from the asylum, her words no longer arranged in sentences, but scattered like broken glass across a marble floor, half-thoughts and murmurs, delicate as rain on a coffin lid. We had so little. With Father's meager wages and growing bitterness, he sold what remained of value in our home. And when he made to pawn Mother's old typewriter, the last relic of the woman she once was, I clung to it with a desperation I can scarcely describe. I pleaded. I wept, for it was not merely a machine, but a memory of her better self, the one who once wrote me fables and cast me as their heroine. He relented in the way men do when tired of the noise children make. Gave me 6 months, he said, 6 months to prove I could sell a story and earn my keep. After that, he would sell it for bread. I wrote of a gentle creature, a hare, dressed in a buttoned coat, who bore neither sword nor shield, but a soft heart and kind eyes. He was not made for battles, nor for happy endings, but for companionship. He, like me, was too sorrowful to believe in conclusions wrapped in ribbon. When the tale was finished, I ran to show Mother. She neither stirred nor spoke, but hummed softly, her attention fixed on ghosts I could not see. So instead, I brought the pages to the brook at the edge of our land, and read them aloud to the hush between the trees and the water. It seemed a fitting thing to give my words to the wind, if not to the woman who'd taught me stories once mattered. And it was there, just beyond the edge of sound, that I first glimpsed him. He stood across the water, half shrouded by the alder trees, tall, hunched, with limbs that did not move as limbs ought to. He was a creature drawn from memory's edge, more dream than flesh, his fur peeling in patches at the shoulder and a top hat slouched forward to veil his eyes. He raised a hand in greeting, slowly, uncertainly, as though unsure whether I was real or whether he was. I asked who he was, though I no longer remember whether I spoke the question aloud or simply felt it pass between us in that breathless space. He replied, in a voice made of wind and apology, that I might call him Hare, if it pleased me. And when he asked my name, I told him I was Alice, and that I had written him into being. He reached across the stream and touched the bruise that still ached on my cheek. He asked, gently, why someone who could conjure such wonders looked so sorrowful. I confessed, in the way children confess, not in words, but in quiet eyes and trembling shoulders, that sadness seemed to find its way into girls like me. He studied me for a moment, then said something that has never quite left me, that I was the brightest thing he had ever seen, but confused, scrambled, like light through puzzle glass. He spoke of a place called Wonderland, and how it might help mend me. When I asked what Wonderland was, he offered me his hand, and I, foolish with hope, took it. Underscore underscore. The last line had barely cooled on the page when I heard it. A breath, soft, measured, right behind me. Shit. I knew in the way animals know lightning is coming, that if I turned around too fast, I might catch something still finishing the act of pretending it wasn't there. So I turned slowly and saw nothing. No lurching shadows. No fanged monsters waiting to sink their teeth in. Just eerie stillness and the aching silence of Chamber 13. The typewriter clicked. I looked back to find a fresh sheet being fed into the machine, corners scorched like it had survived a fire that should have killed it. Alice asterisk. Asterisk, could this really be her lost journal? The founder of the order itself? My stomach tightened. The keys clacked. Someone, or something, was still writing, still telling Alice's story, and I had a bad feeling it wouldn't have a happy ending.